Parker's just going to squat down the whole time, so he's about the same height as me.
Yeah, it'll look
Otherwise,
better
it should be about the same, so it doesn't matter.
all right, so Chuck got a question this week about coming back from injury.
Yeah, so the question was that the individual had been working out. They previously, their food is on point, but they no longer have been able to find it easy, at least, to get into the gym on a consistent basis. So they're coming back from a shoulder injury. You definitely end up, with some limitations, and your strength isn't as high as you normally would. And it's very hard to stay motivated and to get back into it in that sense. And I think that's the case with this individual. They're focusing more on kind of like what had been and not so much on like where they're at now. So,
and this is a good point because him and I have come back from injuries with BMX all the time. This one was a shoulder injury, which we both came back from multiple times.
I came back from this last year.
Yep.
So.
And the thing about it is you can't come back exactly the same. You might come back better, but it's unlikely. So what can we do about that?
So the thing is that you definitely need to focus on the health of that shoulder. That's probably the first and foremost. When you go into the gym the first time, your main focus should be that shoulder. You don't want to re-injure yourself, and you don't want to cause another injury that's going to make you stay out of the gym even longer.
Exactly.
So I think that's the biggest thing that we should take into consideration, but focusing on mobility, stretching, and definitely a proper warm-up. So I would say just getting in there and getting properly warmed up, and then focusing on some mobility stuff. That'll probably lead into a few exercises or something that you might be able to do, rather than if you just go in and you try to go at it, you're going to be frustrated because you're going to feel tight, you're going to feel achy, and that area might bother you. So,
and then secondarily to that, I would say mobility is a huge thing. And then when you start to get more of that strength back, you're going to build strength in the rotator cuff. So like in this case would be, or whatever muscle it might be or whatever you're working through, try to develop with maybe band work and some light resistance training. So we're not talking about super heavy stuff that's gonna, be really not advantageous for you. You want to do stuff that's going to help strengthen slowly and then build into more of a regular workout.
Yeah, so when we talk about mobility is your ability to move through a range of motion with stability. So the thing that you want to think of when you're doing this stuff is not only how far you can actually move that arm, but how well you can keep that arm stable, and making sure that you make slow progressions and you're not just jumping into the weight that you used to do, because it will come a day that you can probably do the same weight, but right now is not the time.
Yeah, and we can tell you from all of our injuries that it happens slow, but you'll eventually get back to that place that you wanted to be.
Yeah, so
on that note,
take that stuff in mind and run with it. Adios.
Peace.